Good morning, everybody. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. Sounds like some of us are really wet and some of us are really hot, but hopefully you had a good weekend and was able to enjoy that. So, as usual, this is our time to share things that have gone well, things that have gone poorly. Guys, we can all benefit from what's happening with other people's practices. That's the real benefit of what we're doing on these Monday morning calls is if somebody's experiencing something, I guarantee you other people are experiencing it as well. So what a great time to make sure we're all learning from each other's. That's the advantage of this group is we can all learn from each other's triumphs and all learn from each other's hurdles. So please, 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 if you got things happening, bring them up here. And as usual, it seems like a lot of you like to just be flies on the wall and listen to what's going on here, and that's fine. But if you want to be involved and be more interactive on this phone call, that's we're very open to that. We ask you be on a headset over the voice over internet or call in, and we'd be happy to. I'd love to just go back and forth with you for these Monday morning calls as well. So please don't forget that you're always invited to do that as well. So with that said, I'd like to go into what's just a little pointer before we get started on our real topic. But the pointer is something that Jeff talked about, I think, 3 weeks ago, which is that bonds are not the place to be right now. They may have been a place to be 10 years ago. They are not the place to be right now. And in fact, Investment News newspaper, the Investment News newspaper comes out weekly, actually had a big article on this. It says, beware of bond-like returns. FINRA is going after advisors promoting bond-like returns. Hartford was just fined for presenting bond mutual funds as appropriate for clients concerned about principal protection. So what's that telling us? If you got bonds in your obviously your clients are retired, so they need a portion of their portfolio in guaranteed type of stuff and a portion of their portfolio in growth. And with the new Wealth Max, it's about 2/3, 1/3. 2/3 should be in safe because the Wealth Max gives them an 8% cap, and 1/3 should be in growth. But nothing should be in bonds right now. In fact, Hartford, like I said, Hartford was just fined for presenting bond mutual funds as appropriate for clients concerned about principal protection. In other words, bond mutual funds are not appropriate for clients concerned about principal protection. And that's the growth portion of their portfolio. And Securities America was also fined for promoting a bond investment as the missing piece to every fixed portfolio. So everything that Jeff talked about here 3 weeks ago, I mean, is coming to fruition. And if you're out there promoting bonds as a guarantee, now you don't see here where fixed annuities or fixed insurance is being gone after by FINRA. Its bonds are being gone after by FINRA for being the guaranteed portion. So be smart, get your clients out of bonds, get them into this Wealth Max or some other fixed index product or fixed product, because that's the only portion of their portfolio that it truly is guaranteed. So do you have anything to add to that, Jeff?
No, I mean, that's pretty much what I would add is that if you look at their statements, can you guys hear me okay?
Yep, perfect. Yep.
If you look at, if clients are looking at their statements the last couple months, they're seeing their bonds go down. So if they were under any impression that bonds somehow couldn't go down in value, I promise you in the last couple months, they're not thinking that anymore.
And if you're not looking at that and pretending they don't see it, some competitor is going to come in and talk to your clients about being in bonds, and you're going to lose your clients. So, guys, please pay attention to this. So, super. So we'll go on with our main topic. Thanks, Jeff. So we'll go on our main topic here, which is that every month, every year, you have 5 months to market. Do you realize that? Every year you have 5 months to market. So what months are those? What do you think the best month to market is, guys? So let me see some of your answers to this. What's the best month to market? What do you think the absolute best month to market is? So September, October. Those are, Ron, those are very good ones. I got October, September. Well, you're giving me great answers, September, October, but the very best month to market is January. Yeah, there you go, January. Eric hit it perfect. January, February, March, September, October. So I'm getting a lot of good answers here. So January is the best month to market. Why? Because think about this, guys. Our lives are kind of ruled by the calendar. What do we do? Do we live our lives differently during June, July, August? I don't care what part of the country you're in. I don't care what part of your life you're in, whether you're a school kid, whether you're working full-time, or whether you're retired. Do we split the calendar into sections? And during the June, July, August section, which we're in the middle of right now, How do we live our lives differently? How do we live our lives differently June, July, August? I don't care if you're a school kid or you're a working man or you're retired. Yeah, it's right, Ron. Everybody visualizes June, July, August as vacation months, as time to see family, as time to go out and do things. How much time do we pay attention to our personal financial issues, our personal, shopping for car insurance? I mean, all those kinds of, we don't do that during June, July, August. Why? Because in our minds, even when we're retired, those are the months to play. But January is a fantastic time to market because we're also hardwired that January is a time to get serious about making changes. January is a time to get serious about making changes, so that is the best time to market. The next best time to market is February and March. I mean, because it rolls, January, February, March, it rolls right into each other. April's an okay time to market. And why is April just an okay time to market? Because depending on how you run your practice, whether it's a tax-based practice or not, April is a tax month. That can be a fantastic time for some people to market and a horrible time for other people to market. Only you can say that. May is also an okay time to market. June, July, August, for the reasons we just talked about, are just okay for marketing. But some of you did pick up on the fact that after June, July, and August, after we've had 3 months off, we kind of view what? We kind of think, just like with school, it's time to get back to work. It's time to get back serious again. Even at work, we kind of treat casual Fridays go away after the summer. We kind of treat the fall as a mini January. It's time to get back and serious about things. So September, October are also excellent times to market. So there's our 5 months. January, February, March, September, and October. Those are our 5 months to market. In November and December, we don't market. Why? Not because you can't fill seminars. I've seen lots of people fill seminars. The problem is trying to get people to do anything after the seminar because they always have excuses on why they can't meet. They've got family things. They've got parties. They've got traveling. They're blah, 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 blah. So November and December, you should only market at your own risk. It's not that you can't, and I've got some people who are of the Jewish faith that have are networked into that that target market, and they've done very well in November and December, but that's an exception to that rule. So January, February, March, September, October are the best months to market. Now, obviously, we're right now in July, but when do you have to start preparing? If September and October is when you want to market, when do you have to start preparing? You have to start preparing right now. So you don't want to be in the middle of September and say, oh my gosh, I need to market. It's all over by that point. See, what I want you to understand, if you miss September, you didn't miss September. You missed half of your possible marketing until January. Look at this. If you miss September, that means you only have one other month to market. So really you haven't marketed in June, you haven't marketed in July, you haven't marketed in August. Can we admit that, with some exceptions like Ron, who's a marketing tiger, he's been out marketing this summer and doing well with it. But a lot of people don't market in June, July, August. I don't blame you. I didn't either. I went and did my client appreciations. I did my client maintenance. I took time off. June, July, and August wasn't where I marketed heavily. But in September, October, I marketed heavy. I had 2 mailings in September, so I do 4 events in September, and mailings in October, I do 4 events in October. I put all my time and effort into those 2 months because I knew that was the big months. So if we miss September, we've missed half of our available marketing time because it means we hadn't marketed in June, July, August, most of us. If we missed September, we didn't market in September. And then we can't market in November, December. And when are you going to see your first paycheck from the marketing you do in January? Probably in February. So that means June, let's count our months here. June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January. That's 8 months before you'd see a significant paycheck. Do not miss September. Do not miss October. I highly recommend that you hit September and October heavily because, again, you know you're going to be down November, you know you're going to be down December, and you know that anything you do in January, you're not going to get paid to February. So you need to start planning right now for September, right now for October. Does that make sense? So when I say prepare, what am I talking about? Again, we don't want to miss half the possible marketing in January, but what are we talking about? Well, first of all, when we talk about marketing, we need to be figuring out how our marketing fits in with the 6 principles of influence. So what are the 6 principles of influence? Reciprocity. What's reciprocity, guys? Yeah, Ron, you're exactly right. Ron's saying get your seminars lined up now. You're exactly right. And I mean, Ron is a guy who knows how to do it. Ron has his seminars planned out 6 months in advance at least, I think, Ron, don't you? I don't know if you do it annually, but I know you do it at least 6 months in advance. So you're absolutely right. A year in advance. And that's the way I did it, Ron. I did a year in advance. I had seminars planned out, and Missy can validate this. Now, I didn't do all the seminars that I planned. But I had them all scheduled. And I was heavy in January, heavy in February, heavy in March, and heavy in April. And normally I had to cancel my May one because I had a pipeline that was too full to handle. So then I would just cancel my May ones. But I still had them scheduled. So, 6 principles of influence. Reciprocity. What's reciprocity, guys? That's right. Ron says you can always add or adjust later. You're exactly right. But you can always subtract later, but you can't. It's very much more difficult to add later. So you want to be in a position of saying, I'm going to cancel the one I planned on having, rather than scrambling, saying, oh my gosh, I don't have any business. Oh, what should I do? Oh, I guess I better run a. No, don't do that. Don't get into that situation. Plan ahead. So reciprocity, we want to make sure our marketing hits all 6 principles of influence. Reciprocity is the first one. What's reciprocity? Reciprocity is if I do for you, you do for me. If I invite you over to dinner, if you invite me over to dinner, I feel like I need to invite you over to dinner. I've talked about this experiment that people have done where they've sent 25 Christmas cards to strange people they don't know, right out of the white pages, and they get back 20 Christmas cards back because people feel, oh, geez, if they sent me a Christmas card, I got to send one back. Reciprocity is a very strong thing. Authority, you want to be looked at as an authority, as an expert, as a person who is on top of their game for a particular topic. Scarcity, you want to make sure that people realize that that offers aren't there forever, that those offers on the table can go away. Consistency, you want your message to be the same over and over and over. See, guys, consistency is the #1 characteristic of trust. Do you get what I mean by that? Consistency is the #1 characteristic of trust. I trust somebody who is always consistent. If somebody blows with the wind, if somebody's erratic, if somebody's all over the board, do I trust that person? I mean, one of the best examples of that was that there was a very, 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 very liberal senator out of the state of Minnesota, Paul Wellstone. Unfortunately, he died in a plane crash. But this guy was off the board to the left of liberal. But everybody in Congress trusted him. They didn't vote with him. They didn't get on his side. They didn't promote his issues, but they all trusted him. Why did they trust this guy? Even the rightest of right of the conservatives still trusted this guy who was way to the left. Why did they trust him? Why did they trust him? He was consistent, Eric. Exactly right. He was always consistent. He was not. You couldn't buy his vote. He couldn't be influenced. He couldn't. This guy was. You knew how he was going to vote on every single vote. He was consistent, and that's why he was trusted. And that's how we need to be with our messages. Is consistent. It's a huge factor. Consensus. What is consensus? Consensus is the bandwagon theory, which is what? Hey, if my neighbor's, it's good enough for my neighbor, it's good enough for me. If everybody else thinks this guy is funny, I should think he's funny too. If everybody else is buying that kind of car, I should buy that kind of car too. Consensus. And likability, people liking you. So we need all, and when we market, whatever way that we choose to market, it has to have all these principles of influence. So let's look at the different ways we can market. Well, the first way we can market is lead generation. Sending out lead generation cards or doing a concierge marketing by sending out invitations or whatever. So lead generation. Does lead generation have reciprocity? No. Does lead generation have authority? No. Does lead generation have scarcity? No. Does lead generation have consistency? No. Does lead generation have consensus? When they get the postcard in the mail, are they looking? Do all their neighbors get the postcard in the mail at the same time on their block, and then they all stop to read that postcard, and then they all look at each other to see if they all agree on the message or not? No, they don't have consensus. Is there any likability whatsoever from lead generation? So guys, please, right now, type in the. I want you to type in. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me which of these 6 principles of influence that lead generation hits. Is there any of these 6 principles of influence that lead generation hits? Any of them? Or is it a complete strikeout on all 6? It's a complete strikeout. So why don't I recommend lead generation? Does that mean that you can't send out lead generation? No, because are there guys that make a living with lead generation, make $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 with lead generation? Sure. But should that be your primary method of marketing, or should that be the ancillary marketing that you do just to fill in the gaps? I did lead generation marketing. I absolutely did, but I did it just to fill in the gaps. I didn't lean on this. I had it out there going on just so I had these other ones, these other leads coming in during my low times. So lead generation does not hit any of these 6 principles of influence. How about social media? And I was reading a book called Contagious. It's the hot book right now for CEOs on word-of-mouth marketing. Anybody want to guess when they've actually done, he quoted 2 different studies done by he works for the guy who wrote the book, actually, he's a professor at Wharton School of Business, University of Pennsylvania Wharton School of Business. So he's no dummy. But he quotes 2 different studies, very, very in-depth studies that are being bannered about by all the General Electric, 3M, I mean, all the big guys now, they're using this study. And they looked at social media. What percentage of word-of-mouth advertising occurs with social media, do you think, guys? What percentage of word-of-mouth advertising occurs with social media? 10. Ron, awesome, awesome, awesome. It actually ends up being 7%. But based on all the crap that's being flung about now about LinkedIn and Facebook and social media and all blah, 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 what do you think that people think social media presents in word-of-mouth marketing? 90, exactly. It's a complete opposite. You hit it right on the head, Ron. It's a complete opposite. So social media is not a great way to market. I had one guy at one of my trainings come out and said, Mike, you know what you said about social media? It's right on target. I spent 7 months, he told me. He says, I spent 7 months. I brought in 1,700 people into my LinkedIn, local business people into my LinkedIn. Local, not nationwide, local people into my LinkedIn. I hosted 5 events for those 5 events for those 1,700. Filled the events, just like get-togethers after dinner, get-togethers and drinks and barbecue and all that. He did 5 events for that 1,700. Guess how much business he did under that? 8 months of effort, of time, of money spent. Guess how much business he did? One case, and he only made $5,000 on it. He said it was the biggest strike. He says, I'll never touch social media again, because how do people make, maybe buying your phone, maybe buying the next best song, maybe buying little things like that, but do people make their decisions based on who to choose for their attorney from social media, their doctor from social media, their financial advisor from social media? Important decisions, are they made via social media? No, they are not. So let's look at how social media stacks up. Well, you can be consistent in your message with social media, and you can have consensus, because if you've got a lot of Twitter followers, well, then that's consensus. So you can get those 2, but that's 2 out of 6. That's 1/3 of possible principles of influence. Radio, that's being touted along a lot right now too. You know what radio's terrific at is getting do-it-yourselfers requesting what? I mean, everybody I've talked about with radio, except for a few guys that have been doing it for 10 years or more. I know some guys that have been doing it for 10 years or more. They're very, very successful. But when I ask them, how did it work for you the first few years, they say, oh, I lost money probably a good first 3 to 5 years in. I lost money, big money, those first 3 to 5 years. I kept gutting it out, and I finally now am making good money. Yeah, but those first 3 or 4 years, those are throwaway years. But I do have people who the first 6 months in radio, they say, geez, I've got 150 leads. Guys, yeah, Ron says, that's right, Ron, free info. You get do-it-yourselfers on radio. They don't call asking for an appointment. They call asking for that free report. Guess who calls to ask for free reports, guys? Guess who calls to ask for free reports? People with advisors that actually are looking to leave their advisors, or do-it-yourselfers? Yeah, do-it-yourselfers, exactly. Do-it-yourselfers. So great, I've got 150 pieces of mail that I have to figure out how to logistically get out to these people, waste the time and effort and money to send these things out, and what am I going to get from that? Zippo. And it's because radio does not hit all 6 principles of influence. How about referrals? Referrals hit reciprocity, don't they? They hit authority. That's the whole reason people referrals work, is because of the authority that the person who's ever referring to us blesses us with. It works for consensus because obviously somebody's vouching for us. That's the best bandwagon or the best consensus we can get. And likability. If my friend likes him, I got to like him too. So likability. So it hits 4 out of the 6. But the only that gets all 6, the only that get all 6 is group type meetings. Do group meetings have reciprocity? Yes. Because you are hosting them, first of all. And when somebody hosts you, they feel like they have to host you back, or that they should bring you a housewarming gift, or they should do something. If you always feed them or give them some kind of drink, not a lot, but a little. Even that, though, is reciprocity. Authority. Nobody looks at somebody as an authority more so than when that person is standing in front of a group talking. That is the number one way to look like an authority, is stand in front of a group and speak. I've seen the stupidest people with the stupidest ideas stand in front of a group and talk, and most of the group thinks because they're standing in front of the group and talking, regardless of their intellect, regardless of what they're talking about or the silliness of their ideas, still give them validity and authority because they're talking in front of a group. Scarcity. Group meetings work with scarcity because people always feel that after the meeting is done, if they don't do something right then and there, after the meeting is done, they can't come back and do something later on. They need to do it right then and there. There's this feeling that if we don't do something right at the end of the meeting, we've missed our opportunity. Now, that's not the case, but that's the feeling we have. And again, I'll go back to those silly people I've seen speaking, talking about silly ideas, and at the end of that event, what do people do? At the end of the event, what do people do? They all run up to try to talk to the guy. I'm like, are you kidding me? Now, here's the sad thing. Because they're all running up to talk to the guy, guess what I feel like I need to do? Even though I think the guy's silly and his ideas are silly, I've got this urge to go up and talk to him too. It's human nature. How about consistent? Can we be consistent in a group meeting? Can we say the same things over and over and over in a group meeting? Yes. Think about it. When we go to church, does our preacher tell us the same thing over and over and over? Yes. But if he was sitting one-on-one saying the same thing over and over and over, after about 5 minutes, he'd say, preacher, I get it. I get what you're saying. He couldn't talk for an hour about the same thing over and over and over one-on-one with us. But in a group setting, he can. And likability, here's the great thing about likability. In a group, can people, you're exactly right, Dale, it's the herd mentality. Now, and that's also the same thing with likability. Can people like you one-on-one? If you figure out a way with lead generation or social media or radio to get people to come and see you one-on-one, will people like you? Will they allow themselves to like you one-on-one? If their first contact with you is one-on-one, will they allow themselves to like you? Let's get some answers on that. Will they allow themselves to like you one-on-one? Is it possible for them to allow themselves to like you one-on-one? No, Ron says, exactly right. No, they can't. Why? If the first time they meet with you one-on-one, they laugh at your jokes, what will they feel that if they laugh at your jokes that you're going to take that as? Their guard is up. Exactly right, Eric. A sale, yeah, that's right, a buying signal. What if they nod when you say something? What are they afraid if they nod when you say something? What are they afraid you're going to take that as? A buying signal. If they agree with anything you say during that first meeting, they're afraid you're going to take it as a buying signal. So instead, at that first meeting, how standoffish are they going to be? Think about how you go in to buy a car. How standoffish are you with that car salesman? Think about that. I want you to think about yourself. When you go in to buy a car, how much do you laugh at that salesperson's jokes? How much do you agree with what the salesperson says? Or are you constantly on guard and constantly pushing back at anything he says? Because you're afraid if you agree with anything he says, laugh at any jokes, or show that you like him at all, that he's going to take that as a what? A buying signal. And these people look at you as the exact same way. So they're not going to like you at all. Even if they like you, they're not going to let you know they like you. Everything's going to be push, push, push back. But the great thing about at a group presentation, can they like you at a group presentation? Can they laugh at your jokes at a group presentation? I get people laughing in the first 1 minute of my group presentations. Why? Why can they laugh at a group presentation? Why can they nod and agree with me at a group presentation? Why can they say amen at a group presentation? There's no risk, Eric. You're exactly right. Why is there no risk? There's protection. You're exactly right, Jeff. Why is there no risk in their protection? Because in a group, they're protected. They can feel like they're anonymous. Exactly right. It's the group mentality. They feel like they can escape if they need to. One-on-one, if they laugh and agree, they feel like you can nail them right then and there because it's only you and them, mano a mano. But in a group presentation, they feel like you can't corner all of them. You can only corner one of them, so I can escape if he tries to corner us. So they are allowed to like you. They're allowed to like you more so than in a one-on-one. So when people say, hey, do you have any one-on-one marketing, I say, no, I don't want to be idiotic and give you the hardest possible way to sell. Guys, should I show you how to market the hardest, most difficult way or the easiest way? And guys get it backwards. Guys get it backwards. They think meeting people one-on-one is the easiest way. BS. That's the hardest way to market. You have no reciprocity, no authority, no scarcity, no consistency, no consensus, and most importantly of all, no likability. Why the hell would anybody want to market where the first time they met somebody was one-on-one? That's crazy. I would never do that. I want to be in a situation where when the first time they meet me, they're coming to me from a group meeting. Because when they come to me from a group meeting, they already have some level of reciprocity. I've already hosted them. They already know I'm an authority. They've already heard my message, a consistent message, over and over and over. And consensus. They've sat in the room and saw everybody laughing at my jokes and nodding and agreeing with me and shouting amen. So they know that everybody, not just that they thought I was smart, but a lot of people think that I'm smart. And they come in and they already like me. So that first meeting is how much easier. So I won't market without grooming. That's why I have lunch and learns, focus groups, referral dinners, and seminars. That's the only way I market. I would never try to market one-on-one. It's crazy. Even with my lead generation, guess what my lead generation pushed them towards? A one-on-one meeting? Do you think that the lead generation that I used as an ancillary, again, I've always used seminars to be successful, but when I did use lead generation, send out postcards, was that ever for a one-on-one meeting, do you think? What do you think my lead generation postcards pushed them towards? Come to my next what? Seminar. I don't want to meet people one-on-one the first time. That's the most difficult type of meeting you can possibly have because they're going to be totally on guard. I don't want them totally on guard. So any questions on this? Do you understand why I go for group meeting, whether it's a referral, dinner, a focus group, a lunch and learn, or a seminar? Because it hits all 6 principles of influence. And when I'm going to market, I want my dollar spent where it's going to be most successful. And it's going to be most successful when I use something that has all 6 principles of influence. Does that make sense? So I always get people this, but Mike, my area is different. My attendees are different. All I get is plate lickers. Guys, how many times do you think I've heard these 3 things? I don't care if you're in New York, Dallas, Los Angeles, or Billings, Montana. Guess what everybody tells me? Their area is what? Different. Yeah, it's different. But are people different? No. Are these 6 principles of influence different in every area? No. So I tell you what, if you're in an area where group meetings don't work, you sure in the hell better not be what? If you're in an area where group meetings don't work, you sure in the hell better not be doing what, guys? Doing any of the other things, because those are going to be even worse. If group meetings won't work in your territory, I guarantee you everything else is going to be worse. Why? Because all the other things you could possibly do don't hit all 6 principles of influence. So, hey, if you're in an area where group meetings are tough, everything else is going to be 10 times tougher, so don't be an idiot. You still need to do it the easiest way possible, which is group meetings. Yeah, you should move, RC. I agree. But, you know, I've talked to, and Jeff, how many guys have we talked to in the past 12 years, 13 years, who have told us their areas are different, and in the end, what do we find out? Are there areas yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, their areas the people are the same everywhere you go. So their area really isn't. The people in Dallas are saying the same things that the people in Los Angeles are saying, which is the same things that the people in Jacksonville, Florida are saying, which is the same things that the people in Nebraska and Colorado and Minnesota and Wisconsin are saying. Yeah. Every area in the country is the same. People are the same.
Yes, they are. And by people being the same, here's the news flash. People are the same, which means that all marketing is going to create fantastic prospects or crappy prospects. No, they all create crappy prospects. Oh, just a second here. I got a question. Mike, how do I transfer the comfort of one-to-one group meetings to, of one-to-one? How do I transfer the comfort of one-on-one to group meetings? I don't think. Can you help me out with that, Jeff? Do you know what the question is there? Do you see it?
I don't see the question, but just listening to what you're saying, I think what they're saying is, you know, when I get in front of somebody, I feel a lot more comfortable. So that meeting is very comfortable when I'm just sitting one-on-one with people, whereas in front of a group, it seems more academic, more lecture-like, more stilted.
Okay, super, I get it. So how do I, so you're not talking about the comfortability of the client, you're talking about your own comfortability, that you're more comfortable talking one-on-one than you are to a group. That's a fantastic question, because I like talking to huge groups. The reason I like talking to huge groups is I'm not very good, I'm not a warm person. I'm loud, I'm brash, I'm in your face. That does not work well in a small group. That works fantastic in a large group. In a small group, you should be conducting it more as if you're a one-on-one. It's more quiet. It's more conversational. It's as if you're in a small group meeting. So what you do then, Dale, is if you guys don't like to do large meetings because you're more comfortable doing one-on-ones, you will do fantastic with smaller groups, getting only 10, 12, 20 people in front of you and dealing with them as if it's a one-on-one conversation, which it should be anyways. So you deal with them, and some of our best guys, Jeff, have been very quiet people that don't like big groups that have done it with small groups, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And because what ends up happening to their closing ratio with those small groups?
It's higher.
It's huge. It's huge. I mean, I've had guys that are quieter, who are more comfortable with smaller groups, have 100% closing ratios of those smaller groups. Why? Because they all leave feeling like they're part of a family. Now, I'm not built that way, so I like big groups, and so I shoot for big numbers, knowing my closing ratio is going to be a lot smaller. So if you there's two types of people: people who are loud and brash like me. You do much better with big groups. And then there's most people, though, are not loud, brash like me. They do better with smaller groups. It actually works well with our mailing, because with our mailing, we split it into two groups, so you end up with two smaller groups instead of one large group. I always go for one large group, but most of our guys are splitting the mailings and going with two groups, so you end up with two smaller groups, and they're able to then use that chemistry of liking the one-on-one where you're comfortable. But I do want to stress this, guys. Just because you're comfortable with the one-on-one, do you think the client's going to be comfortable one-on-one? No. So is our job to make ourselves comfortable, or is our job to make our clients comfortable? Are we going to sell more in a situation where we try to make ourselves comfortable, or is a situation where we try to make our clients more comfortable? We want to be putting ourselves in a situation where the clients are more comfortable. When the clients are, I know that we're more comfortable talking one-on-one, but will a client ever be more comfortable talking with you one-on-one for the first time? No, no, no. I'll go right back to, how comfortable are you, or most people, your spouse, your mother, going in and talking to and even your father, even if he's a good negotiator with buying cars, how friendly are they to that car salesman? They are not. They're doing everything they are to put up a wall with that car salesman. So we don't want to put that. We want to put the clients in a situation where they can afford to like us. So I completely get where you're coming from, Dale. And what you want to do is just have smaller groups and use that chemistry of the smaller groups as if it's a one-on-one, and you'll do very, very well that way. But even in small groups, people feel the anonymity, the power of groups, and not feeling threatened. So it hits all 6 principles of influence. You just want to have smaller groups. So he says, thanks. Good. So all marketing creates crappy prospects, guys. Do you get that? All marketing creates crappy prospects. Is there any marketing out there that's going to make somebody want to become a client of yours? No, 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 no. So this whole thing about plate lickers is bull crap. Because when people say that all we get is plate lickers, no. Plate lickers are people who have seen no value in what you have to offer. plate lickers means that you're not a very good salesman. That's what plate lickers means, because I don't expect any person who comes to any of my seminars to be anything but a plate licker. And then it's my job to do what? Convince them that they need to work with me. I'll give you a great example of that. This guy right here, this Earl Bronstein, he wrote a book. He's in Florida. He wrote a book. He actually ate lunch and dinner for a whole year. I think that maybe he missed 7 or 8 days. Lunch and dinner for a whole year down in Florida on free lunches and free dinners. He wrote a book on it. So could there be any worse prospect than this guy whose sole purpose it is to eat for free and write about it and laugh his ass off about it? Is there anybody that could be worse prospect than this? Could there be any bigger plate licker than this SOB right here? Could there be? Guys, tell me. Could there be any bigger SOB plate licker than this guy right here? Nope, there couldn't. It'd be impossible. And yet, during that year, guess what he did? Twice. Guess what he did twice? Guys, what did he do twice? He purchased something, Eric. You're exactly right. He purchased 2 different financial products during that year. So that means that this guy who had no intention of buying anything was just there to write a book, was thinking it was funnier than heck, the most unsaleable SOB, and even the SOB is saleable. Exactly right, Eric says. If your message is what? Good. Now, if you go in expecting fantastic prospects and they're all going to want to deal with you, no. But if you're good at what you do, guess what? You can make a fantastic living doing seminars. Now, the seminar that we had previously, that Take Your Brain for a Jog, only about a third of the people were doing very, very well with it. About a third of the people were doing okay, and a third were just striking out with it. And the reason being is the 2 hooks in the previous Take Your Brain for a Jog were Social Security planning. What's the problem with Social Security planning if that's your hook, guys? Here's the problem with Social Security planning, is that, first of all, only the people that are thinking about Social Security, doing Social Security in the next couple of months, are going to make an appointment for that. All the rest will say, if they're more than 2 months out, they're going to say, I'm going to call this guy when I get closer. Which means if you've only got the people that are interested in meeting with you for Social Security are people within 2 months making a Social Security decision, what's happened to your pool of possible appointments from that seminar? Reduced. A little bit or a lot, guys? Reduced a little bit or a lot? Because what percentage of people in that room do you think? A lot. Exactly right, Ron. So your percentage of people, and that's the problem we're seeing with Social Security, is our guys doing Social Security seminars are filling the rooms, but it's more difficult to get appointments. Why? Because the people say, oh, this is awesome. I need to do this planning, and as soon as I get closer, I'm going to do it, which what happens to your... So our guys are being much more successful than the average Social Security planner, Social Security seminar out there, but Social Security seminar should be your second line of defense, not your first your most likely methodology for marketing. Because I don't want a reduced pool. I want the whole pool. I want to go after the whole pool. So the previous Take Your Brain for a Jog was Social Security, and then it was on the bucket strategy. But the thing with the bucket strategy is that's something that people really wanted to come in to see about. Was it so exciting that people wanted to come in and see about the bucket strategy? No, it's not sexy. It's not sexy. It's not concrete. So we had a problem with the reduced pool, wanted Social Security who would come in for Social Security, and then the bucket strategy was just didn't have the kind of hook. So that's why we took all the feedback that we got from you guys, all the feedback we got from you, and we created Think Outside the Box, which I showed you all about a month and a half ago. So Think Outside the Box is still leveraging the fact that people don't want to learn. The people we want to get in front of don't want to learn. They want to go come and have a good time. And that's what the Think Outside the Box is about. So we're still getting the same kind of we're still going to be using the same methodology of marketing, because we had a fantastic average of 61 with over, close to 200 seminars done. We had an average of 61 people per seminar come to from our mailings. So we didn't change that, but we did change the content. It's still fun. It's still fun, but then we have much better hooks. We're not trying to use Social Security, which is a fantastic hook, but it's such a small, reduced pool that's really hurting us. We're not getting enough people who want to meet with us right then and there. They just instead Say, yeah, if I ever need help, I'll call this guy. When I get closer, we don't want that. We want them to want to meet with us right now. We don't want them to meet with us 3 months from now. We want us to meet with us right now. So our hooks are stronger with this. So let me ask you a question. How many of your clients, if I polled your clients, or if I polled somebody on the street and said, hey, how would you like to save 46% on your IRA withdrawals? And I want you to see some answers to this. If I polled them and said, how would you like to save 46% on your IRA withdrawals, how many people would raise their hands to that? What percentage of people, guys? Anybody that had money in an IRA, what percentage of people would say, yeah, instead of paying tax on all my withdrawal, I'd like to, a lot. Yeah, exactly. 100%, I would agree with that. So how many people would say they'd like to be in a 1.7% tax bracket on their investment income? Are these things much sexier, and do they want to meet with me 3 months down the road for this, or do they want to meet with me right now for this? Safely increase their income by 25%? That's a little, I think so many people say the problem with the number 3 here. First of all, how many of our competitors are saying save 46% of their IRA withdrawals? None. How many of our competitors are saying pay only or be in the 1.7% tax bracket on investment income? None. So these two things only we are saying. Unfortunately, our competitors are saying something similar to this. So this is still strong, but not nearly as strong as these first two. But still, it's another reason for them to come to see us. The win-win-win. Now, this is a fantastic way for people to come to see us. A way that if they don't need long-term care, they win. When they die, they don't win, but their family wins. And if they do need long-term care, they win. We are getting a lot of traction with this. Not only us, but guess what the number one product for growth was in the last 2 years? Over the last 2 years, both years, 2 years in a row, what's the number one product for growth? And not growth in the market, but number one product where guys are selling more of it this year than they did the year before. What do you think that product is? FIA? Well, that's a good guess. Wealth Max? Well, a type of Wealth Max, absolutely. It's the hybrid life policy, a hybrid life policy with long-term care rider. That's the number one. It had huge growth the last 2 years. Why? We've talked about this before. Are people looking for growth right now? Are they looking for safety? What percentage of retirees are looking for growth versus safety? They're all looking for safety. So they're looking for a hybrid life policy with a long-term care rider. Isn't that what our Wealth Max does? Jeff says mine are both. But you know what? We just talked about this last week, guys. We just talked about this last week. How much more attracted to growth are people than they are afraid of loss? You remember this from last week. How much more attracted to growth are people than they are afraid of loss? If I say I've got $100 here, we're going to flip a coin. We're going to flip a coin. If it comes up heads, I'm going to pay you $100. If it comes up tails, you pay me $10. How many retirees will take that bet? 90% of retirees will not take that bet. So, yes, they want growth. But how much do they want growth versus how much they want to protect what they already have? You want to put that on a scale. Where's the scale going to end up? You know who wants growth? You know what wants to talk about growth? You know what always is pushing growth? Advisors. We need to get our heads out of our rears and realize what our clients actually want. And really, guys, in retirement, let me see this question. In retirement, what good does growth give people in retirement? Can people create a better lifestyle for themselves through growth in retirement? If their whole premise is I didn't retire with enough money, so my plan is because I didn't retire with enough money in retirement, my plan is now to grow myself into a place where I can have a better retirement. Is that possible? No, they'd better have saved enough to retire before they retired. So in retirement, their goal is not growth. Their goal is what? Make sure their lifestyle remains what? What it is when they retire. They want a good lifestyle. It's not stable. Exactly right, Jeff. So they're not looking to make their lifestyles better. If they are, you better get rid of them as a client because they are a problem waiting to happen. So what people are looking for is they want to keep what they already have. They want it to keep up with inflation. They don't want it to erode. but they're not looking to grow into becoming millionaires if they're not already millionaires. They want to make sure that they have enough money to do the things that they want to do, and the only thing that can screw that up is what? Loss. So the win-win-win is a huge pull for retirees in the last 2 years, and it's only getting, it's accelerating. It was more last year than the year before, so it's accelerating. So that's a good hook. And then the American Equity illustration, which is basically showing people how to get good rates of return without risk, that also gets their attention. So those are 5 good hooks. So I just wanted to point out here, to take your brain for a jog with outside the box presentation, the video of me actually doing it now. So we've had the script up there, but now we have the video up there as well. So if you go to the presentations outside the box, there's the video of me actually doing the presentation if you want to look at that. Now again, as we talked about earlier, do you need to do it in the same manner I do it? Do you need to do it loud? Do you need to do it crazy? Do you need to get in people's faces? No. To take your break for a jog or any type of seminar works just as well if you want to be quiet and do more of with a smaller group and do a more one-on-one type of thing with a small group of people. So it's there for you guys that want to get my keywords and tricky phrases, but you don't have to be wild and crazy or loud and obnoxious like I am. You can do the same presentation in a very much lower key manner and have just as much, if not more, success. Okay? So what can you expect? Well, it depends. Are you going to follow the system? Are you going to do the close like I recommend you do the close, or are you going to do your own close? Are you going to start to change the way that the wheel was invented, or are you going to say, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel, I'm going to just do it the weird way? If you do it my way, here's what you can expect. Our average for over 200 seminars has been 61 attendees. That means 17 appointments, because you have 34 buying ratios, and 50% point ratio is 34. So 50% of 34 is 17 appointments. Again, this is average. We've had guys get 80% appointment ratios. We have guys get 30% appointment ratios. Our average is 50% appointment ratios. But that was with crappy hooks. That was with the Social Security and the bucket strategy hooks. We've got 5 strong hooks now. And if you do the close the way I ask you to do it, your appointment ratio will be much higher than 50%. But let's stick with 50%. 8 closes out of 50%. Our average ticket size, we've sold 20 of these of the Wealth Max in the last month. That's $163,000 is the average ticket size. Why is it bigger, guys? Why is the Wealth Max ticket bigger than average? Because do we need to worry about suitability with the Wealth Max? No. We don't need to worry about suitability. Do we need to worry about surrender charges? No. I've showed you in the presentation. We don't tell them to move the money, but what do they say about the surrender charges? They're saying, to hell with that. I'm on out of here. So the tickets are bigger because the presentation I gave you is having people ask you, can I move all my money into this? Then it's up to you to say, no, let's not move all our money into it. Let's move this much into it. But you have the option of moving the whole kit and caboodle into it. So what portion do I recommend? I recommend 2/3 of into the Wealth Max and 1/3 in straight growth, because the Wealth Max gives them safety and it gives them growth. So instead of the 50-50, I think you should do 2/3 into Wealth Max, 1/3 into growth, because you still want the straight growth. But we asked them in the presentation with the Wealth Max, if you had an 8 or a 10, which one would you want? The 10. Now let's put a fly in the ointment. If you had an 8 or a 10, but the 10 next year could make you 20 or lose you 20, but the 8, once you make it, you can never lose that. Which one do you want? They all say they want the 8. They're happy with a cap of 8%. So if you sold 8 of them out of an average seminar, that's $1.3 million at 9% commission. That's $117,000 in commission, guys. Now, I know a lot of you are freaking out saying I could never do that. I remember the first month I made $100,000, I freaked out. I mean, the year before that, I'd never made more than $50,000 a year, and in 1 month, I made $100,000. I was freaking out. My wife had to talk me down. So I get it if you're freaking out, but let's look at worst case scenario. What if we only got 28 attendees? Of course, you only paid $2,000 for that, because remember, you only pay per person. What if out of the 28 attendees, you only got 6 appointments? What if the 6 appointments closed 3? At $163,000, that's $489,000. That's $500,000, which would have made you $44,000. How much did you pay to make $44,000? Am I talking, wow, no way could I get 28 appointees, Mike. No way could I get 6 appointments, Mike. No way could I close 3 of them, Mike. No way, 163, that's crazy talk. I could never get a $163,000 ticket. I could never sell 3 of those in a month. Guys, it's not crazy talk. This is worst case scenario. $44,000 on a $2,000 investment. How much will that make you a year? How many of you are making that much now? And the guys that are making this much now, they're saying these numbers are crap. I could do way better than that. But for those of you that are not making this, is this doable? Sure to hell is. Or you better get out of the business. See, again, with the way that we do it, we pay for the list, the printing, the stuffing, the mailing, the postage, everything up front. You only pay if it works. So when it works, you pay $80 per reservation. If you only get 10 people, it only costs you $800. What if you only sold 10% of that 10 people? That's one sell. $14,000. You pay $800, you make $14,000. Almost $15,000. What if you get 50 people in there, which is where we cap the cost? It costs you $4,000. You sell 10% of the 50 people. That's $75,000 in your pocket. 80 people. Cost is still $4,000 because we cap it at 50 people. You sell 10% of them, that's $120,000 in commission. And guys, the Wealth Max, we don't sell the Wealth Max. We ask the client a bunch of questions, and they tell us they want it. And they, at the end, and Ron can validate this because Ron sold 3 in 2 days, all they do is you lay out the questions exactly the way I lay them out there, and they actually say exactly what I tell you they're going to say. They say exactly what Jeff says in the role play. I know that shocks you, but it's true. Ask the questions the way I ask the questions, and they will answer the exact way that Jeff answers. So nowhere in there do we sell the Wealth Max. They sell themselves. We never sell it. And they tell us how much they want. How much can I put in? So we're not selling a product. We're offering a product they weren't aware of, and guess how much of it they want? It's like the iPod. How many people want an iPod? Everybody. How many people want an iPhone? Until they knew but you had to show them it existed before they wanted it. Guys, this is an unbelievable opportunity for you in the next couple of years. Are you going to take advantage of it or not? See, I take all the marketing risks. Here's what it costs. If you get 0 in front of 0 people, it costs you nothing. 10 people, it costs you $800 as we went through, and all you need to do is sell 1 of them. 50 people, guys, I take all the marketing risk. Your risk is this. You don't think you can sell 10% of the people we put you in front of. Because even at 10% of the people, what is it? Your profit ratio is 10 to 1. Your return on investment is 10 to 1. You have no risk unless you think you can't close 10% of the people. If that's the case, should you be doing any more? I'm going to want you to all answer this question. If your concern is you can't close 10% of the people we put you in front of, should you do any marketing? If your concern is you cannot sell 10% of the people we put you in front of, should you be doing any marketing? No. What should you be doing? Answer that question. If you can't close 10% of the people we put in front of, you should not be marketing. What should you be doing, guys? Let's see some answers to this. Flipping burgers, that's one good answer. What should you be doing, guys? Working on your marketing or working on your selling skills? You better learn how to close sales. Exactly right. I guarantee you, if you learn the presentation the way I've laid it out for you, you don't need to become an expert salesman. I've already created an environment where you will become the expert salesman. Follow and learn my Wealth Max presentation. And again, we talked about last week. I will be calling you all in the month of August, and you will be telling me, you're proving to me that you know that presentation, right? Why am I going to be doing that? Because I'm a jerk? No. Because you came on to make more money. And the way you're going to make more money is to learn the Wealth Max presentation. And the way you can get in front of more people to do the Wealth Max presentation is to what? Do 2 mailings in September and 2 mailings in October. So, Jeff, what would you add to this conversation?
Well, the first thing I'd add is that you really need to get started now, because there's a ramp-up time to do a seminar. Anybody that's ever done any of them before knows that you can't just call up the mailing company and say, I have my seminar next week, and think that you're going to get people to come or that the mail's going to even go out. It's going to take 6-8 weeks to find a location, approve the proof. So you need to start now. You need to be out there scouting the location now. So don't think that, well, that's a month and a half away, I have time. No, guys, if you need 6-7 weeks, you need to start now. You need to start the beginning of next week. If you're going to have a seminar in September, you need to be scouting the locations by Monday of next week. So don't think that you have all this time. You really don't. And if you miss September, like Mike said, you've missed one You've missed half your marketing for the last half of the year. That's it. You've missed a great opportunity. And if you're afraid of doing seminars, it's probably because you probably had a bad experience with them in the past. But we take that bad experience away from you and say, you know what, we'll put the bad experience on us. We'll pay for it up front. You only have to pay if people come, because I guarantee people that have had a bad experience tell me, well, I did a seminar once. It cost me $5,000. Nobody came, or the only 2 people that came didn't have any money, so, you know, it was a big waste of time. Well, it's not going to cost you $5,000 if only 2 people come. It's going to cost you $160. So you don't have any excuse of saying, well, I might end up paying a lot of money for something that I don't get any bang out of my buck for. You're not going to pay any money unless it gets you in front of a lot of people. And again, if you don't think you can close 10% of the people that it puts you in front of with the presentation that we give you, then that's a whole different problem. And that means no marketing is going to work for you. So I'm only talking to the people who can sell 10% of the people that they can get in front of. And remember, these are the 87%. We take all the risk. You're not going to have a bad experience. If you're worried that you can't even get 6 appointments from 28 attendees, then, you know, call us. We'll help you. We'll work on it. But don't wait until September or October to call us. Call us now so that we can help you make some money before the end of the year. But this is the best way to get in front of the best people. And, you know, the funny thing is, you know, over the course of my years, I've gone on some of these insurance company trips. I've never met anybody on those trips that didn't do seminar marketing. That's the reality, guys. It's the best way to get in front of the best client, and now we take all the risk off of you so you don't even have to worry about a flop. If it's an attendance flop, then we pay for that. You don't have to worry about ever having to pay for that again.
And if it's a flop where you weren't able to close people, we send you video cameras to film your seminar so we can coach you so that never happens again. If it's a situation where you get a bunch of appointments but you didn't close any of them, tape your meetings. We'll coach you to show you what you're doing, where the missteps are to make sure you're closing a ton of people the next time. And as you can see on the screen, it does not take closing a ton of people to make a ton of money. So thanks, Jeff. And Kyle, what would you add to that?
You know, in the 18 years that I've been doing this, I've kind of heard the same thing over and over again. Even 10, 15 years ago, I heard that, you know, seminars don't work as good, you know, mailings are down, my territory is completely different. But yet, the #1 guys were always doing seminars. And today, it's kind of the exact same thing. We still hear seminars don't work, seminars, the mailings are down, you know, my territory is different. And there again, the #1 producers are always doing seminars. All the training we do, the hands go up. How many people are doing seminars? It's unbelievable. Everyone is doing seminars that's having success.
And the reason is obvious, because what I put through today, guys, is the number. It's the only way to advertise that has all 6 principles of influence. I doubt very much that these guys who are doing seminars are saying, you know, the reason I do it is because it has all 6 principles of influence, and that's the reason it works. No, they just do it because it works. I'm showing you it does work. They're absolutely right. They're doing it because it works. I'm showing you why it works, because it obeys all 6 principles of influence. And so, guys, if you don't want to do the seminars, do a lunch and learn. Do a referral dinner with the recurrent. But quit chasing the one-on-one meeting. That is a fool's errand. It's the hardest possible way to sell people. So I bang this hard because right now, I don't bang this hard often, but I'm banging this hard right now because now is the time to get ready for September, October. You need to be finding, you need to be talking to the mailing house. You need to be talking to 5Q specialists and getting these things scheduled right now for September. If I had my druthers, I would do what I did, which is 2 mailings in September, 2 mailings in October. If you don't want to do that, you better at least be doing 1 mailing in September, 1 mailing in October. The only reason you shouldn't be doing this is if what? If you feel you can't close 10% of the people you see, well then I've given you the tool. Please then call me. I'm on vacation, but I will take your call if you tell me you think there are holes all over the place in the Wealth Fact presentation and you don't think that that's going to close 80% of the people. Because it's closed 100% of the people so far. So if it's closed 100% of people out of 20, I'm assuming it's going to close 80 out of the next 100. Is that an unfair thing for me to expect? It's closed 100% of the people that it's been shown to over the last month. That's 20. That's not a huge number, but 100% of 20 is pretty damn good. Get in front of people with that presentation, guys. Okay? So the reason I'm doing this now and pushing it now, because now is the time to be doing this. This is the last you'll hear about, except for little 30-second commercials about doing seminars. I don't do this often, but the reason I'm doing it now is because now is the time to do it. The next time you're going to hear this is in late November, because you got to get the thing scheduled for January. Where do I get the presentations? It's actually, if I go back to here, the presentation is right here. So if you go down to Marketing, Presentations Outside the Box, and you see the Outside the Box manual, you see the actual PowerPoint presentation, you have the video of me doing it, and then you actually have the script for doing it. So it's all right there on the 5Q website, the presentations and Outside the Box. We have a question. Yes, you're paying $80 per reservation. So let me see. When we get 61 attendees, that's how many people registered for that. Now that's 61 attendees. I'm sorry, that's 61. 61 attendees. So our actual reservations are higher than that. We actually get about a 10% fall off on our reservations. So you're absolutely right. So the guys that are worrying about the guys that are worried about, geez, you know what, Mike? I actually had 32 people. I had 32 people sign up, and I only got 28 people here, and I only made 44,000. What the fuck? What would you say to that guy? So you paid for 32 reservations, you had 28 attendees show up, and you only made $44,000. That's a real problem, isn't it, guys? If you have a problem with the difference between the reservations and the attendees, you call me. I'll write a check out of my own checkbook for you, but then you're going to write it back double with the amount of money you make. Is that fair? So if you're worried about the amount of reservations you make and the people that show up, because we only have a 10% fall off. Guys, let me ask you a question. Why do we only have a 10% fall off? Why are they coming? The invitation's all about what? Why do we only have a 10% fall off in reservations versus people who send up? It's about fun, Ron. Exactly right. So how many people won't show up for fun? Do people that are retired sit in their homes with their shades drawn waiting to die? No, they're looking for fun things to do. If your seminar is about learning, guess how many people are going to not show up? Lots. So it's a good question. You're paying for reservations, not attendees, but we only have a 10% fall off. And remember, out of these 61, on average, 61 people that show up, how much do you pay for, guys? Just a little quiz here. How many of the reservations do you pay for? 50, which means you got, Ron, exactly right. So how many of these did you get for free? What if 6 of them don't show up? You still get 5 for free. Exactly right, Ron. Thanks. So if you're, again, guys who look for reasons not to do things are going to constantly find reasons not to do things, which means they won't do things, which means they don't make money, which means in the end, how long are they going to be in the business? Successful people do, guys, what unsuccessful people won't do. So you can sit around and think about what's all the reasons I shouldn't do this. Or you can say, hell, I could sell 10% of the people. I'd have to be a loser not to sell 10% of the people. I just need to get in front of people. And if he'll do it, and the only way I'll have to pay is if he actually gets me in front of people, I'm all for it. So yes, you only pay for the reservations, but in most cases, you're still getting people for free. So does that make sense to everybody? So good question. Yeah, you only pay for reservations, but so you might have actually pay. If you only had 28 people, you might have actually gotten 34 reservations. Only 28 people attended, but then, wow, I guess I only made $44,000, and I only paid, what's 32 times, so I paid $2,400. That's a horrible. I paid $2,400 to make $44,000. Guys, quit looking for reasons not to do it, and ask yourself, I want you to go to the bathroom right now, look yourself in the mirror, and say, can I close 10% of the people I get in front of? If you can't, call your 5Q specialist, schedule a time with Jeff or me, and we will coach you to the point where you can sell 10% of the people you get in front of. That's easy. That's an easy thing for us to coach you. Or just learn the presentation, and you're going to close. Guys, we've had 100%. When have you ever seen a 100% closing ratio in a presentation before? Again, that's only 20 cases. But 100% of 20 cases is pretty damn good, and that's not all with clients. That's about half and half. Half clients, half new. Okay? So let's quit making finding reasons in your head to why you shouldn't do things, and instead say, I can sell 10% of the people I get in front of and get these things scheduled. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, let's see. So, super. Then thanks, everybody. Have a fantastic week, and then we will talk to you Wednesday, and we will talk to you, I don't know if we have a Friday meeting or not, but you'll get notice of that. So appreciate it very much, and have a great week, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks, guys.